Hello.
How's it going?
Good. How are you today?
Doing well.
Good.
And I have set up the screen sharing again, so you should be able to just share your own stuff. I don't know why it doesn't just let me I have to update it every time I log in. I'm just like, why?
Okay, great. It's working. I can unshare screen if you wanted to chat with your class about anything before we get started.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. And hopefully I don't have weird audio problems like yesterday. I ended up having to just restart my whole system after class. It was fun times.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad Christina is here. Just had too many technical difficulties to not ask for backup.
A lot of people are just dropping in, so maybe we'll just give one more minute, but a lot of people have oh yeah, everyone's coming in, so we can get started in just a minute. All right, I'm actually going to go ahead. Most everyone's here. So hello, everybody. It is week 12. I did finally check that. And as I said, in the first half of class, we are going to have a special presentation from Amanda from the ACC library. And we've got Christina, our backup librarian here, just in case of technical difficulties, because goodness knows we've all had them. And it will be fun. She gave the same presentation yesterday. It was wonderful. And I'm just so glad that we can still work with the library people. This talk is going to be focused on not just, I know a lot of you have encountered ACC library resources before, but as I said on Monday, not everyone has a sense of, knows how to navigate like the full depth of our really comprehensive online catalog. And also, I've asked Amanda to help point you toward trade journals, which is something that a lot of people don't even know exist. And I want you to be able to find them, because that's where you're going to find a lot of useful information for the last 2 writing assignments of the semester. So take it away.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me. And Christina here. Christina is also a fellow librarian, and she's mostly at the Riverside campus. So I'm at Eastview, and it's just always good to meet more friendly faces, and we invite you to come visit us at the library whenever you can. I'll go ahead and share my screen so we can start taking a look at what we're doing here today. Okay, so is everyone seeing a big welcome English 2311?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, great. Let me check that chat real quick. Great. So this is, English 2311. And if you're in this class, you may have taken other ACC courses. So like your professor mentioned, you may have had a chance to visit the library or use some of our resources, but we're going to get specific to this class today. Okay. And I'm going to share these slides with you when we're done, or sorry, your professor can share them with you if she wants to. So you'll have this information, so don't worry about needing to write this down, but I'm a librarian at the Eastview campus, and that's my email address if you need to reach me. You can reach anybody at the library in a lot of different ways, so I'll share that with you at the end. Here's a picture of my dogs, just because they're often here in the background and they may bark. So ahead of time, I apologize. So why are we here today? We'd like to talk to you about finding resources from trade journals. And you can use these anytime you're at ACC because we have access to them for free while you're a student. But you can specifically use them for your upcoming assignment in this course. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to get really specific with your searches so that you can maybe even come away from class today with at least one resource that you can use. So as best as I understand it, here's your assignment that we're going to be focusing on. You are prompted to generate an estimate and recommendations on 3 different roofing materials based on cost and durability. And Professor Whipple, do you want to jump in and talk about specifics or?
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick. So if you haven't read the assignment description yet for this unit, I've assigned you a topic, and the topic is, and we'll do part of the exercise for this in class today. But what I'm going to ask you to do is you're going to be writing a recommendation report based on making a recommendation about roofing material based on cost and durability. And you know, a lot of that stuff, especially that material science information, is not always super easy to find. So that's why I said trade journals. This is where you're going to find a lot of stuff about that. And it's going to be a short recommendation report, 3 paragraphs, 1 table and 1 graph. We'll talk about, again, the basics of that after our presentation. But so one of the things I want you to be working toward in this unit is learning, again, where to find reputable sources of information. And for this assignment, for this session today, you can focus on like looking up roofing materials in particular, because we'll do the pricing research in class in our exercise.
Okay, great. And that's, you know, it's good to know the details going in because it'll shape how we search for resources on the library website. So I'm actually going to grab this text and drop it in the chat so we can refer back to it if we need to. Because I forget things as soon as they're out of my brain. So I wonder if anybody else feels the same. Okay, but before we get started, I would love to hear a little bit more from you all. Since I don't have the privilege of being in your class all semester, I'd really just like to hear a quick tidbit about you and your name, if you feel comfortable sharing. Do you have like a TV show, video game? We talked about podcasts yesterday in the other class, so that would be something good to share. Pretty much anything else you feel comfortable sharing in class that you'd recommend to everybody. Feel free to drop it in the chat. Feel free to unmute. I'll get started. I've been watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer again recently, and that's been really great because we have the DVDs at the library. So, you know, it wasn't on streaming for a little bit. So just so you know, this is, you know, has nothing really to do with your assignment, but when you're done with your assignment and you need to give your brain a break, we do have a lot of those leisure materials available for you as well. So I like letting people know at this point, especially if you haven't had a chance to come in since we've been mostly remote study. We do have some of those physical materials, and we have a couple great streaming services that are basically like Netflix for the library. So, you know, sometimes in a course like this, you might want to watch a video about roofing materials and kind of take it in passively. So we might be able to find something like that too. Okay, so if anybody else wants to share, hop in. Okay, I might pick on Christina or Professor Whipple to start us off.
So I dropped in the chat. I'm a podcast person, and I have a long list of podcasts, but I'm really big on conspirituality. That's my go-to. Like every Thursday, I'm like, has it updated yet? I'm also a big fan of the A Little Bit Culty podcasts. I know that White Ladies were supposedly all about true crime podcasts, but I'm really more in the cult research interest. That's really more my jam.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't see the chat notification come up. Thanks for directing me over there. I see that a lot of people have shared. And I mentioned this yesterday in that class, but this is kind of like a pretty selfish icebreaker for me because I really love hearing recommendations from everybody. So thanks for sharing. I see, oh yeah, the adaptation of Dune. I haven't even cracked open that whole world. So I'm kind of considering what avenue I want to enter it from, but I know it's in the conversation right now with the new one coming out. Oh, Christina, I don't know Maya and the Three. I'll have to check that one out. What We Do in the Shadows, I did get to see the movie of that, and so I need to watch the TV show. Oh, and I just finished You last night. I won't spoil it, but really enjoyed it. All American, a football show. I watched Friday Night Lights back in the day, so I think I'm ready for another football show. So I'll give it a whirl. Anyway, thank you so much for sharing. It's really great to be able to hear from you all when I don't get to see you as much in person. Before we get started, what questions might you have about the library or kind of, library in general? Okay, well, if any questions come up, just shoot up a hand or drop something in the chat and we'll talk about it as we go. For now, I'll keep going here. Okay, yeah, I bring up this slide because pretty much any time I'm going to start looking for a library resource, it's going to be through the library website. We have a lot of physical resources that you could come in and see and just browse if that's how you like to do it. But for a really specific search, going to the library website is my first approach. So let me drop this link in the chat real quick. And then I'd like to show you a couple of different ways that I start searching for these types of resources. We have our assignment about roofing materials, and we have a couple of different avenues that we can take to get to those types of resources. So I have them kind of listed here, and you don't have to memorize this. You'll have them with the slides and available for you. But let me go ahead and start walking through both of these. And some of them take a lot of steps. So if a question pops up, please just stop me and we'll chat about it. And then after we've just introduced the idea of these two different ways of searching, I'll give you some time to search yourself while Christina and I are here so that if any questions pop up, we can get them answered in real time, hopefully. So let me exit out of here and pull up another tab. And so we're just going to the library website there. And we have a lot of information going on, but for today's purposes, let's go ahead and try that first way of searching. Dogs barking. We have a lot of databases that contain information that might be useful for you for an assignment like this. So I'd like to walk you through what the databases are and how to navigate them. So the way I think of the databases is basically they're just kind of like repositories or hosts for specific types of information or specific categories of information. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of them so we can see what I'm talking about. And to get there, we're going to click on that A to Z list of databases. And we're going to be taken to a page that has them listed alphabetically. If you become familiar with some of these, you may know exactly what database you want to go to. If this is kind of like an intro to databases, you can usually navigate by reading the information underneath the title. It'll give you an idea of what kind of information that database holds. Some of them are pretty general, like Academic Search Complete. And if I'm just starting a topic and I don't really know much about it, this might be a good, what's the word I'm looking for, portal for you. If you look down, you'll start to see more specific ones like American history. Spans more than 500 years of political, military, social, yada, yada. So we're not, really talking about history in this class. So this, for example, is a database that I would skip over. And so you can, browse if this is the way that you prefer to do it, but there's also a second way that you can look at them. If you click on this subject link, it'll take us to a page that kind of breaks those databases down by subject. So since technology is an aspect of what we're talking about today, I might click on that. And now it's going to show me all of the databases that will have technology specific content, basically. So you might notice that your time at ACC, I see it happen particularly a lot at Eastview with a lot of health sciences classes happening there, that that you need to be looking for health sciences courses, but you're having trouble finding it in the large world of the internet. So this is just one way to get a little bit more specific more quickly. Hopefully it helps you kind of narrow down things. And if you have a question about a good database for you, I would recommend contacting a librarian, because this is basically our job, is helping you get to the info you need. So we're definitely down to have those conversations. I'm going to try something a little bit different than what we did yesterday. I'm going to go back to that general search database and see what we find there. So I'm going to click on Academic Search Complete. Since I'm pretty new to roofing materials, this is what I might do. And it's going to ask me to sign in, since this is a database that's available to you for free as a student. They just want to make sure that you can verify that you are a student. So don't be worried if you run into a sign in like this. Okay, so it's going to take us to like a kind of simple page. There's a search bar here, and there are some search options below. One of the cool things about this part is it's what we typically call an advanced search, is that for an assignment like this, where you do need at least one chart or graph, I believe is a requirement, you could maybe click these options and see what you find, and then cite that source and include it in your paper. And you can also get really specific with the year you're looking at. Since we're talking about roofing materials, I don't know if an article about roofing materials from the 1970s would be super useful for us. The best practices have probably changed a lot since then. So
they definitely have.
Yeah, I would hope so. I might keep it the last 10 years or so, maybe even 10 years is stretching it. I think it depends industry to industry. So
within 10 years is a pretty good just general guideline.
Okay, great. What was 10 years ago? 2011?
Yeah.
Let's pop that in. And then I think I can leave the end year open, and it'll just give us the most up-to-date information. So let me try. Can I save that? Okay, I need to add in some search terms. Okay, so let's look at our assignment again. I'm going to pop it in the chat just so it's fresh here. We have generating an estimate and recommendations on 3 different roofing materials based on cost and durability. So my question for you all is, what would be a good keyword search to start with? Absolutely, roofing is going to be pretty important here. I would think if we don't include roofing, we might miss a lot of really relevant material. Okay, great. So let me put roofing here. oh, okay. And this is interesting. It starts kind of recommending things for us. So this might inspire some searches for you all. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing material and durability as well. Those are seeming pretty important to me since they kind of get to the root of what we're looking for here. And let me go ahead and type in that. And there might be a different search out there that works just as well, but for our purposes today, I think I'm going to start here. I kind of like to start as simple as possible and then get more complicated if the search requires it. So we might start here. If we have a specific material that we already know about, we might pop that in there in another search. We might put steel or shingles somewhere in there if we're looking for very specific information there. I'm going to leave it off now, though, because if I do put it in, I may not get some more general articles that could be good guidance for me. So let's go ahead and take a search there. Okay, so we have some search results here. It says we have 1 through 10 of 50. So not the most, not the least amount of articles I've seen returned, but at least enough to get us kind of started looking around and seeing what the landscape is here. Let's see. I'm just going to kind of start slowly scrolling and looking for keywords in the title, or maybe they'll be down here in the subjects that would give me a clue if they're going to be good resources for us. So let me just take a second here. And sometimes they get really specific, so that can work in your favor if it lands exactly on what you're looking for. Sometimes it can be too specific. So this is usually the part of the research process that takes me a long time, just kind of looking and seeing what's out there. So don't be discouraged if you don't find it immediately. I feel like that rarely happens for me. So, okay, let's see. We're talking about rabbit cages here. Not the most relevant to what we're talking about today, so we'll pass over that one. Okay, this is interesting. I never thought of reeds as a roofing material, but I'm glad that it came up in our search results, because now I'm kind of thinking like, oh, this might be an avenue I might want to go out down. It's talking about how it's regenerative. So if you have a special interest in environmentally friendly materials, that might be something that interests you personally. And a lot of our keywords are coming up as highlighted in bold, so that's encouraging too. Okay, so I'm kind of intrigued about this article, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And this might take a few steps depending on where we're going. So if you ever have trouble getting there, just let us know and we'll try to help you make sure that we can actually get to the content of the article itself. So I'm going to click on the title right there. It's going to take me to a page that has some more information about it that might give me a good idea of whether or not I might want to use this. This article is from July 2021, so pretty recent. So that's great indicator for me. It's from this journal called Energies. And I'm going to open it up in another tab, or not. It didn't respond to that for me. But I know from looking around at some of these journals to prepare for this class that Energies is one of the big journals that people use in the industry to talk about these types of topics. If I ever had a question, this is maybe where I would pull up a separate Google tab and look up the resource itself. And we might have a whole hour-long conversation about evaluating what is a good source and what isn't. But generally, if there's something that indicates to you, or you can verify that the journal is in fact a good college level research journal, or sorry, not research, but like a trade journal, then I would feel very comfortable using that as a research, I'm sorry, all my words are getting mixed up here. I would feel very comfortable using that as a resource for this assignment. Okay, so I'd just like to know where these articles are coming from. So I know it's from Energies, I know it's recent, and we have some subject terms that are coming up that seem related to what we're looking for here. And down here in the center is the abstract, which is just another word for summary. So this is really going to be what lets me know if I want to use this article or not before I spend a lot of time reading the whole thing. Okay, and some interesting words are popping up to me that I think I'd be interested in pursuing. So I'm going to go ahead and say that if I were doing this research paper, this would be an article that interested me. So now I'm going to actually get to the article itself by clicking on the full text link. Okay, so this is usually the point where I see like a formatted page. It's all spaced correctly and has citations and usually the authors at the top and the abstract at the top too, to let me know that I made it to the correct article. And this is very much what this article might look like if I went to our stacks and I picked up a physical copy of this journal, Energies. So we don't, we have some kind of funny library hours right now, and not all of our periodicals are out on the floor. So, it's a little different right now for browsing in person, but that's why I like to know that we have the digital versions of a lot of these. There are pros and cons to both for sure, but one of the nice things about these articles is that you could save them to your drive over here on the right. You could print them or email them to yourself. And one of my favorite parts of finding these articles through our databases is that you can generate a citation if you need to. And we have a lot of different styles up here. So I think MLA is usually a pretty popular one. You could copy and paste this into your works cited page.
We were actually going to use APA in this class
Oh,
because
perfect.
sadly no one uses, I mean, not sadly, but no one uses MLA outside of English class.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have 3 English degrees, so I can say this with experience.
Yeah. So this is super helpful in my opinion. And, you don't have to make a citation from scratch, which can take a bit of time. But, basically we've gotten to the article here, and it would be up to you now if you wanted to read it and take it with you or not. So that was one process of getting to information like this. So before I go over the next process, what questions might you have about what we just saw? I've completely lost the chat. Okay, there it is. Okay, great. I'm glad you think the citation generator is useful as well. And can you search one term and then narrow the results? Yeah, definitely. Let's go back a couple and talk about how to go about doing that. So I'm here on that original results page from the first search we tried. And we have limiters over here on the left-hand side. And they do kind of what they sound like they do. They limit your results according to what you need. So we already did a little bit of limiting when we put in the years 2011 to 2021. And you can limit it further under things like source types. Since we're in a class with this assignment talking about trade, we might limit it just to trade publications. Language is sometimes useful for me because sometimes I find that I might be finding a lot of other languages that come up. For some reason, there's so many French articles out there. So if that starts happening to you, you might limit it to whatever language you feel the most comfortable
There's
reading.
a huge materials engineering research industry in France. Like,
Oh yeah.
they're super into it. I don't know.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I would keep in mind that there might be standards in different countries that don't apply to this paper, since we're writing about roofing materials here. I'm assuming, I don't know if you're open to other countries, but
Yeah, I'm open to other countries.
oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah, because what I'm interested in is like the materials research. And so when we're talking about like material properties and qualities, that can be more easily like adjusted to like regulations that are, more culturally specific.
Okay, great. That's really good to know. So we might just kind of skip over this geography section then. So Nicholas, if you don't mind me asking, when you said, can you search one term and then narrow the results? Was there another aspect of that question that you were interested in?
So for example, if you search just roofing material and then of the results, if you just searched durability.
Yeah, let's take a look. It's kind of hard to remember all of these titles, but sometimes I kind of do a test search like this and I'll try to see if like the same types of titles come up. Like I'm going to try to remember this one at least and see if it also comes up in that search. So we have potential of read, blah, blah, blah. But let's take it back to just roofing materials and see what happens. And let me just make sure the limiters carried over. Sometimes when you start a new search, you might have to reapply them, but it looks like they stayed in this case. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these titles. I remember that bitumen one. Okay. But I'm seeing some different ones, and even if my read material one is somewhere out there, it's in a different order now. So, this is a really great example of how the types of keywords you use change what results you get. So let me see how many results we got here in the first place. Okay, so with that first search, when we added just the one word on the end of durability, we only had 50 results. But since we opened it up a lot and just used 2 words, roofing and materials, we have over 2,000 results now. So, a pro of that is that you're not cutting out information that might be valuable to you. Maybe something that's less useful is that over 2,000 results would be a lot to look through. So, if you're great at scanning, that, is totally fine. It really just depends on your search preferences and how you prefer to find your information. So yeah, Nicholas, exactly right. You can see how different some of our results are going to be. And when I set you guys off to go search on your own, I really encourage you to try a couple variations like that. Let me show you the other process real quick, just so that you know that it's out there. It's a somewhat more complex process, in my opinion, but I think it's really good to know, and especially for a class like this where you have a specific outcome in mind. Let me pull up the list of journal titles that your professor and I had talked about as recommendations for where you might want to look for materials. Professor Whipple provided these for, and I looked them up, and we have access to them through the library website. So I just dropped them in chat. Let's go ahead and talk about how we might get to this first one. Since it is a specific trade journal that your professor has verified is an acceptable resource, this might be an avenue you choose to use. So the way I would go about doing that is copying and pasting the title from the chat of National Construction Estimator. That's the name of a specific journal. It might be somewhere in our databases, but I don't really want to go looking around for it because I could spend all day doing that probably. So I'm going to go straight to our journal finder. And I'm going to search for it directly. And you'll notice there are disciplines down here as well. So you might find where roofing would be categorized, maybe under construction and building. So you might find other journals there of interest to you. What did I do here? Oh, it copied and pasted everything, I see. So we're just gonna stick with National Construction Estimator to start with. And I'm gonna search for that. And it's going to pop up. I already verified that this one was available. So if it doesn't pop up, that means we just might not have it. But we have this one, and there's a little bit of information underneath here that will help me out. For a lot of reasons that usually have to do with the publisher side of things, they may choose to only give us access to certain years of the publication. In our case, it looks like we have access to any of the journals that have come out under this title from 2008 to the present. So that's actually fine for us since we're talking about stuff from the last 8 years or so, 10 years or so, and that would start with 2011. So that's good to know. And I could go ahead and click on this itself. And it's going to take me to a pretty simple page here. Again, I might have to chase down the full text access link, and it might take a couple steps to get there. But it's basically going to have all the years it has available for us on the right-hand side over here. So one example of when I find this useful is if I'm kind of just starting a search and I want to get a really broad landscape of what's out there. I might do a Google search for a topic like this and find that like the perfect article comes up. Everything in the title is just talking about exactly what I need, but it's behind a paywall, and Google Scholar may have it available, but I might have to pay a fee to access it. In that case, before I paid the fee, I would come and check on the library website to see if we had it available. So let's say that article was from 2018. I would open up the 2018 part. And it would take me to the page that has any of the articles available from that year. And let's say it was this one. Great, now I have it available here. I can access it for free because we did have it available at ACC, and I don't have to pay any fees for Google Scholar or anything like that. So like I said, it's a little complicated, and if you want assistance from a librarian, we're more than happy to help with that. But it is a really good avenue for finding something that you know is already out there. Okay, and let me show you just real quick one last way that you might choose to go about this. Sorry, having trouble navigating when things kind of pop up with the Zoom. There we go. I might try just a really basic keyword search like we were talking about right in that main search bar on the library website. And we might have some books. In our case, we're still wanting to probably look at trade journals for our purposes today. So I'm going to click over to the journals tab. And we might find some of those same articles we were finding from Energy's journal or some of these other journals we've recommended. And they're all going to be pulled in here if we have access to them. So the nice thing about that is you can really just browse for a really long time and maybe get close to what you're looking for in a lot of different resources. I'd say one of the challenging things about it is that we have 152,000 results when we searched here. So I find that to be a little overwhelming. But we can do some things here on the right-hand side to limit our results. I would go ahead and click on that full text link first off, and that will ensure that we only see articles that we actually have the content to. Sometimes we end up having a title that we don't actually have the article for some back-end reasons, but that should hopefully limit that. And then we can use the same years, starting with 2011. And that should dramatically cut down a lot of our results. Now we're down to 61,000. Still a lot, just another way to search, just so you know. And I just like to let everyone know all these different ways of searching, so that if you choose one or the other or all three and something's not working out, you at least know it's out there. Okay, so I've babbled on for a long time now, so I'd really like to give you all the floor and let you do some searching yourself. Yes. Okay, so we actually have just a little bit more time. Let's maybe do like 10 minutes or so. What questions might you have before we get started? And if you don't have any questions now, we can chat along the way. Okay, well, don't hesitate if those questions pop up. Okay, I see one there. Are we writing paragraphs about what we find or just looking for resources? Right now, I'd say just look for resources, because that's the part that I can help you with.
Just look, and maybe however is most efficient for you to keep track of what you found, keep track of it in whatever method works for you, so you can be sure to find it later.
Cool. Well, yeah, I find that once I actually start doing this, a lot of questions usually pop up. So please go forth, pull up the library website on your own and start searching. I'll turn off my stop share here. And I'll drop some of the relevant info in the chat so you can refer back to it. And otherwise, I'm going to turn off my microphone too. So just holler if you need anything. about 5 more minutes. Okay, let's start coming back together as a group and talking about our results and your experience searching. Were there any successes out there or any hurdles that you want to know how to get around? Was anyone able to find a resource that you think you might use for your paper? Let me know, drop it in the chat or feel free to unmute. Okay, we think we might have found a good one. Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay. So looking at the subjects for that article, that's looking pretty good.
Yeah, that's looking great, Nick. High
And
performance group synergy in action. Yeah, nice. And it looks like Michael found a really useful one, choosing planning for new roofing and siding, focused on how to choose materials. I think that's definitely going to be useful.
yeah, that gives me some good ideas for other keyword searches we might try. Planning, choosing, might be other aspects of what we're trying to get at here. And from the first one, from Nicholas's recommendation of the high performance roof, I'm kind of getting the idea that high performance might be another way that the industry refers to as durability. So we might start finding a lot of articles out there that refer to it as high performance rather than explicitly saying something like this material is durable. So you can see how quickly, there are plenty of other ways of saying some of these things. So, sometimes my searches start with something as simple as roofing materials durability, and then I end up getting a little more engaged with how the industry refers to things, and I might end up searching using the term high performance. It can really take you down a lot of avenues, and there isn't any one in particular that's correct or anything. So I usually find that this part of the search process is more like a dialogue you're having with yourself, just kind of like, talking back and forth, saying like, does this work? Does this one work? And so I hope you find successes out there with a lot of different strategies. But if you ever want to just kind of bounce some of those ideas off of a librarian, that's what we're here for too. That's pretty much my time with you all today. But you have the slides, and let me just show you real quick how to get in contact with us in case anything pops up after I leave. You'll have my info, but you're more than welcome to just contact any librarian who may be around. Let's go back to the library services page. And this get help box is going to give you a lot of different avenues for getting in touch with us. This 24/7 chat is pretty popular. Christina or I might be on the other end helping and respond to questions. At different times, it might be somebody else. So, just keep in mind there's going to be someone there to help you 24/7. And that's pretty convenient in my opinion, because if you're already on the library website, you're already here online, so you can just kind of pull us up alongside you. We have phones, of course, and we have emails, and we added this feature this year, so you can schedule a one-on-one session for about an hour with a librarian. So if you're getting really into the weeds on this and need some really specific help, I highly recommend that. Okay, well, yeah. What else did we need to talk about, or is there anything else that we can address before I take off?
People might be good, but thank you so much for sharing your contact information. Because I know that, sometimes it can be intimidating, especially when we don't get to be face to face to reach out. And so it's nice to know we've got some friendly faces, and really y'all take advantage if you need help. Because I know librarians would much rather help you than answer email.
It's so true.
Yeah. So, all right, thank you all so much for being part of our class today. I think we all got a lot out of it.
Okay, great. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See you next time. All righty, so we have 35 minutes and I'm trying to think of, oh no. Oh yeah, that's right. I had to power down my system yesterday. Okay. So we've already done a bunch of research today. So I am actually going to, hold on. I'm looking to see if I can find, why on earth would I get rid of that? That's okay. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the looking up numbers part of things today. Just because I ran out of time yesterday and then people had more questions and I've got a meeting and and also like I don't like to keep people past time. It's not fair to you. You all have, you all have things to do. I'm just going to clear some things up. So we're going to use yesterday's data set. This will already have done some numbers research for you, which is fine. I can show you how to replicate that process. But let us just dive. No, I'm going to show the whole screen so I can toggle between the spreadsheet and PowerPoint. So we're starting with the research. So for this exercise, now please note that in your assignment, the research question is a bit different. It's a bit more complex, but you can take everything you're applying and just, expand out. Like that's the point, right? We do something basic in class, and then I look to see if you can think critically about how to apply that in a different context. So our research question, and this is a simplified research question because I'm asking us to look for shingles specifically. There is more that goes into roofing materials than shingles. But again, just to clarify. And I'm actually going to grab my calculator because I'm going to be walking you through some light math, but don't worry, I'm not expecting you to actually like do calculations this time. So $3,000 materials budget. And I did specify materials budget, so I didn't want people like thinking, oh no, we've got to factor in the cost of like labor as well. We're just talking about materials. And again, we're simplifying. If you were really going to like take this out into a broader scale, you would have to consider a lot of things other than just materials or other than shingles. So where do we find sources? And again, for this exercise, we're just looking at price. In your assignment, I'm asking you to consider price and durability. So where do we get information? Well, you might, for price, look at retail websites. And I know definitely you have probably in other research classes been told, like, if a website is trying to sell you something, don't use it. It's not reliable. That is true for a lot of academic work. Absolutely. And we also have to think about what's the context? What's the purpose? If your goal is to buy something, then you have to look at a retail website. Then you have to look at the information of people who are trying to sell you things. That's the point. Consumer advocacy sites are often useful. And then trade or scientific publications. Y'all did a really great job today, finding some good stuff. I was very impressed with the work you managed to put in a short amount of time. So thank you for that. I always appreciate it. So now there are some things we have to consider, and we may not get to all of this today. But please don't panic. I will review all of it. Anything we don't get to or anything we really go through fast, I will review next Wednesday. So we've got to think about what are the typical prices for each type of material we're looking at? For your assignment, I'm going to ask you to make a decision about 3 materials. You get to pick the materials. What does the homeowner value? So this is why in the assignment I have added I've added durability into the equation, because yes, price is important, but honestly, for most industry projects, price is not the only consideration. And if someone says that price is the only consideration, try to run away as fast as possible, because anyone who's like, no, the cheapest thing is always the best, or the most expensive thing is always the best, you don't want that absolute thinking. That is someone who really does not understand how to balance like the complexities of these projects. Sometimes the cheapest thing is the best. Sometimes the most expensive thing is the best. Sometimes it's in the middle. But yeah, anyone who's just like, no, price is the only thing that matters. Oh my gosh, no. So what is the size of the roof? For this exercise, we're going to use a roof of 1,000 square feet. And we are going to just assume a flat rectangular roof, no gables, nothing fancy. Again, like the point of this isn't to stress you out with like architecture. The point is to do some simple analysis and do a simple recommendation report. And you've got to figure out what's your budget. So these are things that all need to be considered. And of course, different questions of scope will vary by project, but it is important that you consider the scope of something. So, and guess what? You also have limitations. Every project has limitations. Anyone who tells you otherwise is bad at their job or has a very limited understanding of how the world works. So things like, are all materials equally suited for all environments? Spoiler alert, no. You know, wood shingles, not real great for, you know, like the Midwest. I have definitely seen some houses, very lovely houses in the Midwest with wooden shingles. That doesn't mean it's a good idea. Just because you can sink money into something doesn't mean you should. You know, likewise, certain types are not well suited to Texas, you know, with its climate. No, not all materials are equally suited to all environments. Do materials prices fluctuate by location or season? Indeed, they do. There are certain types of, say you wanted some nice aspen wood from Aspen, from Aspen, Colorado. But say you live all the way on the East Coast. That's going to be expensive. Likewise, again, materials tend to fluctuate with the season. A lot of building materials are way more expensive in the summer for good reason. Not a lot of rain, generally not a lot of snow. It's hot, but you know, conditions are optimal for building. And also with supply, like all sorts of things, not just weather. Like there have been, you know, ongoing supply chain disruptions that jack up the prices of things. A couple of my building projects, not like a house, I'm not trying to build a house, but like a couple of my building projects are indefinitely on hold due to the limitations of getting reasonably priced lumber. So there it goes. You also do have to think about the motivations behind your sources. So like I said, guess what? I'm asking you to consider prices. So yeah, go look at like Lowe's and Home Depot. And there are like some sites, pricing sites that are more aimed at like contractors. And those do give you good information, but a lot of times they want you to like hand over your email address and things and contact information so they can spam you. You don't have to do that. Just, you know, go look at what's like at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. You know, again, and you know, there are things you need to watch out for. There are a lot of, let me see if I can find one in my magazine over here. They're called advertorials and they look like art magazine. They look like actual magazine articles, but they're not. They're advertisements. And I'm like, there's one in the magazine over there. I don't know if there's one in my more news-oriented magazine. There was 2 weeks ago, but that was 2 weeks ago. And it'll say in real tiny print, advertisement, but it's very misleading. So things like that, things that are fake objective reports that are just trying to sell you something, be suspicious of them. But if you're like, you want to buy something and you're going to a retail site, and it's like, hey, we're a retail site, we want you to buy stuff, do price, like look at our prices. That's just basic like consumer research. So I definitely, I will demonize every, oh yeah, here's one. And actually, this is pretty good. This actually says advertisement in some pretty bold contrasting text, but it is very structured. Like, look, here's a fancy graph. Here's some very nice like paragraph structure. It's all very lovely. It's well formatted. It really looks like an article. It's for the Ultimate Climate Change Conference UK 2021. And you know what? Like probably it's not, you know, the worst thing in the world, but the fact remains, it's like, it's an advertisement that's designed to look like an article. I have misgivings. So yeah, no, I am not down for any scammy resources, but just think about not the motivations behind the source, but then what your purpose is. And, you know, is the source reliable? Why or why not? Again, looking at the motivations, looking at who wrote it, looking at the information, things like that. So let's build a data set. I'm not going to ask you to go build the data set today, because again, we are short on time. And I'm used to like whole 2-hour sections and not 90 minutes. I'm just like, I need that extra half hour so bad. But anyway, types of roofing materials. Here's a list. And again, for your assignment, you're only going to have to pick 3. There are in theory even more out there, right? There are, but I've picked like common ones that would be relatively easy for you to research. Asphalt compost shingles, it's pretty much the most common one. Metal shingles, wood shingles, clay tile, concrete tile, or synthetic slate. So we're not going to do research, but I'm going to show you. Oh no, it's freezing. Okay, there it goes. I think I need to take my work computer in for service. So here's the data set we generated in my class yesterday. Then, you know, I don't want to, oh, it's still doing this again. Shoot, hold on. I meant to fix this and then I didn't. Hold on. Sorry. It's actually just very frustrating. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. Because it's like, it's trying to put everything in dollars. Like there are so many memes about Excel and Google Sheets, like not knowing how to format, like not understanding how you want things to be formatted. So I do not want this price point. I do not want these to be rounded. Currency. Good. There. So durability, these are numbers here. There are durability scales. I just made one up for the sake of class. This is not really a standard durability scale. So please don't think that it is. Oh my God, fine. I don't want to screw with this too much. This annoys me. Oh wait, hold on. Let's do. Yes. Okay. So pretend this is on a scale of 1 to 100. Again, this is a made up scale I have used for the sake of an exercise. And I'm actually going to switch these columns for now. When I build my information, I'm going to move it because that'll make it easier to build a nice chart. All right. So we've got, here's price points. Clay tile, I'm actually going to sort it by price point first. Okay. Oh, someone got kicked out. So I'm going to sort by price point first. I'm using Google Sheets because as much as Word is better at some formatting things, the compatibility between Google Sheets and Google Docs in terms of making charts and tables is way better. So I'm going to sort the whole sheet by price point, lowest to highest. So asphalt shingles, they're the cheapest. And this is based on information students got yesterday off of different sites. It's not per square foot, it's per bundle. And a bundle is usually 33 square feet. So notice here in the unit, I said bundle. Sorry, yeah. So this is why you have to specify your units of measure. And actually, like, not every company lists things by bundle. Like, I think Lowe's does it by square foot and then Home Depot does it by bundle, or maybe it's the other way around. So then what do you have to do? You actually have to convert it. So if it's, you know, $3 a square foot and a bundle is 33 square feet, that's so if it's $3 a square foot and a bundle is 33 square feet, that's $99 a bundle. So so you can actually see, so I'll just show you, or I'll calculate. So if as these basic asphalt shingles are $10.97 a bundle, oops, $10.97, $10.97 divided by 3. So yeah, it's a lot cheaper. I screwed up the math there, but you can see that. So you do have to convert these. They don't inherently match closest to your goal. You've got a $3,000 materials budget for 1,000 square feet. And I also have a math error on my slides that I need to correct. I need to make a note of that. Good job, me. Anyway, but we will get to that. Sorry, trying to keep track of too many things. So here are price points. I've done them in bundles, just because that is really common. Not a lot of, it is a lot of times more cost effective for companies to sell things by a bundle rather than individual square foot. Anyway, hold on. I do want to show you one cool thing that Google Docs can do that Word cannot, that Excel does not do, and I wish it would. So see here, I had a divider between rows 1 and 2, and I got rid of that. So say I want to organize things alphabetically. Well, now it just is like, it is put everything in alphabetical order in each row. But here, I can slide this down. And it organizes things without moving any of this stuff around. There is a way to do that in Excel, but it's not as straightforward and it's not as easy as a click and drag, just so you know. Anyway, so I've organized these per bundle. Most students got them from consumer, like from retail or consumer consumer review sites. Let's see. All right. Where was I? Too many things happening. So I'm just going to go. So we've got our price point, and I've put durability units in. So I'm going to go back to current slide. So, and again, I've got a math error. So good job, me. So, okay, Home Depot does do it does price things out per bundle. So say, for example, you get some brown WeatherMax roofing shingles. They're $47.04 a bundle. A bundle is 33 square feet of material. How many bundles do you need? So 1,000 divided by 3 is 33. So for some reason I wrote, you should get 31 bundles. No. You actually should get 34 bundles. Why? Because you need 33, you get 33.03. And guess what? Even if the number was an even perfect 33, you should still get 34 bundles. Why? Stuff breaks, stuff gets lost, you make mistakes. Get one, like whenever you're doing some sort of building project, you should budget for slightly more material and slightly more money than you think you need. or than your calculations say you need, because you need that wiggle room. So estimated cost for 31 bundles. That is not correct. So it is 47.04 times 34. And that actually gives us $1,599.36, which, you know, you might as well, if you're writing a report for a client, just round that up to an even 1,600. Because, you know, other things happen, like, or even maybe even round it up to, like, I don't know, estimate the price of tax. We're not going to worry about the price of tax, but the point is, like, you might as well, that is so close to an even 1,600, you might as well round up to 1,600. But that is within our budget. So anyway, I'm going to go back to our table. I'm going to discard these annotations. So price point, unit, durability. So I'm actually going to go and I'm going to go with estimated total. So 1097 times 34 is 10, like 7 times 34 is, yeah, that's only 372.98. Let's see what the most expensive one is. So actually, let's sort the whole thing by that. What's our most expensive? It's $82 even times, we need 34, 2,788. So even our most expensive one is technically in budget. Now, when you think about things like taxes, and now here's where you need to use your critical thinking. The round number, technically in budget, but tax, is that included in these, in these retail sites? Not usually. Tax not usually included. What if you end up needing more than 34? Things like that. So you need to think about these things. I can't remember how to get to, oh, yeah, I can't remember. Wait, let's do C6 time. Let me see if we can get this times 1,000 or times 34. No, that's all right. I do not keep.
You have to put an equal sign before it.
Oh, to in front of. Thank you. Yes, there. So you can actually get your formulas going. So then we need C5 times 34. I'm not going to worry about it turning orange. I'm sure this is just some sort of copying error that I did. C4 and then C3. So we can actually see, so we can, oh, and I'm not going to worry about that formatting stuff. Well, here I will just make it standard and take it down to 10 there. So we can see there are our prices, and this doesn't have any dollar sign because this was in whole numbers anyway. So technically all of these do fit in our budget. Now, while the clay tile is technically within budget, I would caution you against it. Just because it's really, really cutting it close, and it doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room if the client is very strict on what their budget should be. So I would consider any one of these other 5 based on durability. So I'm going to move durability over here. So that'll make it for when we build our chart. But let's say we just want to start with a basic table. I'm going to create a new Google Doc, a basic table just showing price. So what I just did is I clicked A1, I used my shift key and clicked C7, and I hit Command C. If you're on Windows, it's Control C. And now I go over to my document and hit Control V. So it actually gives, and this is great, I love this. It gives me two options. One is to paste unlinked, or I can have it linked to a spreadsheet, linked to the spreadsheet. So I'm going to do that. And here I've got my, oh, I don't want durability. That's okay. We're not gonna, or here, I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna delete this table. Oh, here, I'll just unlink it and get rid of it. Yeah, I did not want to do all of that. So I'm gonna just do A1 to B7, paste it. I'm gonna have it linked to the spreadsheet. Got a real simple table, but now here's a really fun thing. Say I want to change a price. So maybe this is not $82. Maybe this is $82.51. And then I did not use my formula, but so I'm gonna actually change it to a formula. So that is D7 times 34. You don't have to use formulas, but it helps. And of course, it is not showing my cents sign. It's fine. But so I changed that, and guess what? I can go over here, click update, and the table just updated with the new information. Super cool. So this actually allows you to keep track of like edits in real time. It's great. I will say that like if you add rows or columns or formatting, that doesn't update as well, but it's not the end of the world. This is still a pretty cool feature. You can do text wraps around tables. You still need to label it. We'll go over that next week. But very nice, very useful. And you will want to, here's the sample outline, which is, I linked to this in your assignment description. You're gonna want to include a table. So here's your introduction, a table, talk about the table, figure, talk about the figure. So how might we build, I'm going to go back to, I'm running out of time again. I was trying to save time. So that's how you build a table. Now we want to think about graphs. There are many types. I'm not even going to go over all of them. So we've got to track changes over long periods of time. It's better than a bar graph for smaller changes, and it can compare changes over the same period of time for more than one group. So the emphasis here is time, comparing multiple things over time, months, years, whatever. Bar graphs, these compare things between different groups, or they track change over time. It can be used, bar graphs are really a really multi-purpose graph. And if you're using it for time, it's best when changes are larger. With line graphs, smaller changes are more useful. It's just a little more precise. So also you can see there are horizontal bar graphs and vertical ones. Vertical ones are sometimes called column graphs instead of bar graphs. Either one is fine. You decide if you want to use a vertical or a horizontal based on if you want to make the comparison along the vertical axis or the horizontal axis. Area graphs. These are good to use when you are tracking the changes in two or more related groups that make up a whole category. So like here's, I have no idea what that noise is. That's horrifying. Public or private schools and how much they spend per student. X and Y plots. These determine relationships between two different things in which the X axis measures one variable and the Y axis measures another variable. So here is these colors will refer to different countries. And then the Y, and sorry, the colors are for each country. The x-axis is how much they spend per student. And the vertical axis is their gross domestic product. So for today's exercise, where we're just looking at price, what is the best graph for our research question? Just looking at price.
Bar chart.
Yes, a bar chart is best, and I will show you how to build one. So I'm going to go again. I'm just going to select this information, and then I'm going to go. I just like to use the little insert chart button here. And again, if you like Excel, you can use Excel. I think the way Google Docs does this is fantastic. So we've got our estimated total, and we've got our material types. There's lots of ways you can customize. You can, so I might go in here and say figure 1, estimated total versus material type. Another thing I really like to do is I like to go into customize, and I like to go into the series, and then I have it put data labels on, so that way the reader can actually see the actual specific price point. Pretty helpful for readers, because sometimes these graphs are not always easy to parse. So again, you can change color. You could actually try to turn it into a different chart type. Google Docs will give you suggested types, but you can just play around and see what it looks like. And then again, I click on the chart, I copy, I paste, and again, I'll show you what it's like to paste it unlinked. It just turns it into a JPEG. It's just a JPEG that I can click, drag, move around, text wrap, shrink, things like that. Or, oops, didn't mean to delete it. Or I can link it to the spreadsheet. And so then it's not just a, it responders like if you like just downloaded it, it would be a JPEG. Oh, sorry. That's for my committee work. But say I changed durability here to, oh wait, we're not looking at durability yet. Say I change this to, wait, yeah, I can't really change the estimated total. So maybe $33.99. Slight change in price now. Click update. It adjusts. It's wonderful. I love it. And again, these are all things you can do in Excel, but they're like just not as straightforward and not as fun. Okay, we are almost out of time. So I will go over more stuff next week, I promise. But real quick, now say you wanted to include a chart that covered material type and durability. In that case, the scatter plot comparing two things would probably be more useful. So I'm going to do insert chart. It wants me to do a column chart. I'm not really interested in that. I'm interested in a scatter plot. We're going to run out of time. And so it does bar charts really well. Other stuff it does not do as well. X-axis, let's put durability. Oof. Let's do estimated total. Okay. No, switching rows and columns is not good. So X-axis, oh boy. X-axis is that. Yeah, they won't compare well because the scales are so far apart. Nick points out, so my units of measure are not great here because everything is far apart. I actually think it might be better to compare here. Let's go with, rather than estimated total. Oh goodness. See, this is part of the problem. Then it like changes everything when you move stuff around. So you could actually so this is actually a pretty nice 2-column bar chart. You've got durability here and price point, but again, the scales are like, we're looking at prices versus a numerical scale. That's not super awesome. So, and this would probably actually be easier if I did pivot tables. But it does work best for like the same units of measure, which we're not quite looking at. Like in the chart here, they're looking at spending in thousands of dollars and then thousands of GDP, same unit of measure. Here, we're looking at different units of measure, not super useful. So with that, you might actually go back and actually just say, I'm going to do this. Yeah. Or you might do a whole separate chart altogether. I'm just going to go and delete that. Maybe you go and do, maybe you just do a bar chart based on durability. Maybe you just go and do that. That would also be fine. We are past time. If you need to dash, go ahead and dash. I'm going to go over the sample outline real quick. And I do apologize. I guess I just need that extra 30 minutes. And we will get into this more next week. Anyway, so for your assignment, your goal is, so you're gonna factor in a little more complexity here. Today we looked at price, but you're also gonna factor in durability. So you need to have one table and one figure and a title. Here's the link to that sample outline. Scenario, homeowner wants to put new shingles on their roof. They have budgeted $8,000 for their tiny Austin house. We're going to assume a flat roof with no special calculations or measurements. They want you to recommend a particular roofing material that's within their budget, but also durable. Research 3 to 5 durable materials and calculate estimated costs. And create a short table with one report with one table and one graph illustrating the price comparison of the data. Discuss both graphics and end with a conclusion that either provides a definitive recommendation or requests more information. Focus your, again, assuming a flat roof, focus your report only on shingles. Again, we're for the sake of an assignment. And it is up for you to define what research and define what durability means in your report. So keep it simple. You get to pick which roofing materials. I have an outline for how to prepare, how to locate and tabulate your data and create figures. And yeah, so this is the sample outline. You got a title, introduce the research question and explain your data sources, and then introduce the table, put in the table, explain the data in the table, define your use of terminology and be precise. Talk more about your research question and the scope. Remember, we talked about that early in the presentation. Introduce the figure, describe and analyze. And again, there are approximate word counts up here. Describe and analyze the figure. Note any immediate or obvious observations. Explain whether you're able to answer the research question and explain why or why not. And if you wanted to expand on this, what other data might you include? So I do apologize for running out of time, but I will send all of this stuff out with you. And you got some good resources in the library today. Yeah, thanks for those who you were able to stick around. Thanks, and have a good afternoon. No, discussion board post. Wait, yes, you are doing, wait, hold on. Discussion board post. Yes, you are doing a discussion board post this week. Yes, you are. Yes, there's a video to watch that goes along with it.